Good morning, AppSphere. How's everyone doing? Wow, it's so exciting to see the energy here. Exciting to see the passion here. Just our second AppSphere, and we have more than 1,500 people, more than double from last year that we did, about 700 people. It's really, really exciting. I started AppDynamics back in 2008 in my apartment in San Francisco with one mission that as every business depends more and more software application, how do you make sure these software applications do what they're supposed to do? How do you make sure they work really well? How do you make sure they deliver the business outcomes? And it's so exciting and so thrilling to see the progress that we have made in the last 7 years towards our journey there. And I'll share you some numbers here. You heard some numbers from Joe. We have about 1,800 customers that are monitoring their businesses, monitoring their critical applications with AppDynamics. We have about 11,000 applications across our customer base that's being monitored through AppDynamics. We have 1.1 million application nodes that we are monitoring today. We have about 80 billion transactions that we're monitoring every day. Imagine 80 billion transactions all across the world for all kind of things: online banking, online retail, online travel, online commerce, all sort of things that are out there. We are monitoring about 80 billion transactions every day. And we are capturing about 450 billion metrics every day for these transactions, for these applications that we are monitoring. Really, really exciting progress towards our mission of helping everyone in the world build and operate these kind of software apps. You heard from Joe. We are serving some of the top companies in every industry, in every vertical. 10 of the top 20 retailers in the world, 9 of the top 20 healthcare companies in the world, 9 of the top 20 technology companies in the world, 10 of the top 20 banks and financial services companies in the world, and so on. It's more and more companies, more and more industries. We are helping people manage their applications. And this is all across the world. We have customers in about 100 different countries now. We have offices in about 12 different countries in the world. Really, really exciting to see that. And as we go through this progress and this journey, the AppDynamics as a company continues to grow. So it's not just our customers, our revenue, our business. We are growing rapidly as a company. Just a few years ago, we were about 100 or so people in the company. We have more than 850 people in the company right now. And something that we take a lot of pride in is bringing the best of the best talent to work at AppDynamics so that we can keep serving our customers for the very long term. But the most important thing that I personally take a lot of pride in is the culture that we have built at AppDynamics. I believe if we want to serve our customers for a very long term, we have to build the right kind of culture. And our culture is of diversity, our culture is of openness, our culture is of creativity, our culture is of giving it back to the community. But most importantly, our culture is what we call culture of obsession with customer success. Everything that we do at AppDynamics, our belief is that we have to partner with our customers. We have to be obsessed with the success of our customers. We have to build a relationship that's not just a vendor-client relationship. It's a relationship of partnering with our customers. And I'm really proud of that we have been able to establish that culture, even as we have become one of the fastest growing enterprise technology companies on the planet right now. But all of this success is because of our partnership with you. So what I want to do first is really thank you. Thank all of our customers here for being our partners in our journey. It's been an amazing journey, but it's all because of you. So on behalf of all of AppDynamics, please accept my big thank you for being our partners in our journey here. Thank you. Many of our customers are presenting in the conference in the next few days. And for me personally, the most fulfilling thing always is when I hear from our customers how we have been able to help them in practice, in real life, what difference we have made for them. And I want to thank these customers for sharing their stories with everyone else. These will be really amazing stories to hear from our customers here. Software is eating the world. It's a phrase that all of us have heard many, many times. We are kind of living and breathing this phrase every day. It's one of the most defining phrases of our lifetime. If you look back on the 18th century, and we define 18th century as the age of industrial revolution, when someone would look back at today, a few hundred years from now, they will probably define this as the age of software revolution. Everything that we do is being transformed through software. You heard from David, you heard from Joe, how digital transformation has become the lifeblood for every business in the world. If you don't innovate through software, you will die. You will not survive. It's as simple as that. Software innovation is what will drive complete transformation in your consumer experiences for your business. How many of you been to Disney World about say 7-8 years ago? It's amazing. Every time you go to Disney World, it's amazing experience. But the one thing that people always would remember is the long lines. That to get in your favorite rides, you have to stand in long lines. What Disney realized was that the power of software could change that consumer experience. What was not good about their experience could be fixed. So they invested heavily in redefining a completely new experience through magic bands and smartphones where you can customize the rides you want to be and when do you want to be in, so you can really reduce the time you have to stand in lines. So software innovation can change consumer experiences, not just in online kind of verticals. It could be done in any industry. Any experience that we do in our life is really changing through software innovation, through digital transformation. Those of you who live and breathe this every day, right? Your job is to drive this for your business. Your job is to drive this transformation. Your job is changing from keepers of IT systems to drivers of business, drivers of these new consumer experiences, drivers of transformation. And it's hard. It's a hard problem to solve. It's a hard thing to do. It's hard for a lot of things. If you look at the distance between New York and Johannesburg in South Africa, that's 2 billion lines of code. That's 2 billion lines of code laid out on a piece of paper. That's about 8,000 miles. But that's the number of lines of code that Google has. So imagine a company like Google, to ensure that every consumer experience is great, 2 billion lines of code has to run really, really well. So imagine that's 2 billion moving parts. 2 billion moving parts have to work extremely well for all of experiences from Google to work well. And that's the truth for every kind of application out there right now. It's for one user transaction, say a user transaction to book a flight, or a user transaction to transfer money from one bank account to another. These transactions used to go to about 4 to 5 different services on an average about 5 years ago. If you look at these transactions now, the same transactions, they're going to about 15 to 20 different distributed services to fulfill the transaction. We fast forward 5 years. The same transaction with microservice architecture will go to about 50, 100 different services. So imagine now to serve one user transaction, you'll have to make sure that 50, 100 different services come together really well. Everything works very well for those. The second thing that keeps changing is the rate of change. The rate of change keeps going up. For these same transactions, same services, 5 years ago, there was new code going in production probably every 3 to 5 months. Now that average is changing down to every 3 to 5 weeks. If you fast forward 5 years, that will probably become 3 to 5 hours. That new code will go in production every 3 to 5 hours for the same transactions, same amount of code. So the complexity keeps growing and it gets harder and harder. But what really makes it the hardest is a cultural problem, is a big problem in how IT is fundamentally done. To deliver these applications, to deliver the business outcomes on these applications, there are really 3 groups involved always. You have the business group, you have the development group, and you have the operations groups. And these groups historically has been speaking different languages. The business groups will speak the language of revenue, customer retention, customer engagement, conversion rates. The development groups are speaking the language of code. What's happening at the code level? How do you tune the code? How do you optimize the code? And the operations group is speaking the language of green lights, yellow lights, red lights. How do you make sure everything is smooth, all the systems are green or not? And that's the fundamental problem. Why it's getting so hard to really drive the outcomes you want through these transformative software applications. Our approach at AppDynamics is to solve that through what we call Application Intelligence Platform. Application Intelligence Platform, at the core of it, it's really providing you real-time actionable insights into 3 things. Number 1, your operational performance. Operational performance of every line of code, every service, every component, every system that's involved in every transaction. Number 2 is the user experience. What's happening at the user level? What is the user trying to do? What is the user's experience? And number 3 is the business outcome. So if you have an operational issue, what's the impact on the business? If your users are having a bad experience, What's the impact on the business? How much revenue are you losing? What's the impact on the conversion rates? And bringing them together in one seamless manner is really what the core of what we are trying to do at AppDynamics. That how do you bring operational performance, user experience, and business outcomes, and the insights and visibility into them into one single seamless manner. Once you do that, that's when you get true application intelligence, which enables true BizDevOps, where your biz and dev and ops can work together and speak the same language. Speak the same language, look at the same source of data, talk in the same way, and work towards the same goal, which is the transformation that you want to deliver. We are very excited that we have been able to help a lot of our customers go through the transformation with the Application Intelligence Platform. As I said, the thing that I personally take the most pride in when I hear from our customers how we have been able to help them, how we have been able to make the transformation for them. Pearson Education, AppDynamics is a game changer. It has transformed our applications into a living, breathing entity. The Container Store, without AppDynamics, the transformation from being reactive to proactive would not have been possible. Net-a-Porter, AppDynamics allows our technology team to share information across our organization, influencing better business decisions. eHarmony, AppDynamics allowed us to gain complete visibility into application performance and deliver market-leading customer experience. So exciting to see that we have been able to drive the transformation for you, drive the transformation for our customers. But the core of what we are trying to drive, that application intelligence that will bring business development and operations together in a seamless manner, would remain our mission. So what I'm going to talk about now is what are we doing from here? You heard a lot about what do we do today. I'm going to talk about what we are announcing and what we are going to do in future. Before I do that, I have to cover. I have to make our lawyers happy because I'm going to talk about some of the things that we're going to do. There are a few strategic themes of what we work on and what we are focused on as AppDynamics. Number one is unified monitoring. Unified monitoring is where you can bring a lot of the siloed monitoring approaches together to really bring everyone together to monitor and troubleshoot these complex applications much faster. I'm going to talk about what we are doing there, what we are announcing there. Number two is rich application analytics. How do you go from monitoring of IT performance and user experience to tie it back to the business? And how do you do that in a seamless manner? I'm going to talk about what we are doing there, what we are announcing there, a lot of exciting capabilities that are coming out there. And the number three strategic area for us and strategic focus for us is our next generation AppDynamics platform and how we are expanding our platform, the architecture, the foundation of our platform to bring you more and more of these capabilities over time. We have a very exciting product release coming out. Our next big product release, version 4.2, or the Winter 16 release, just coming out in a few weeks. And a lot of new exciting capabilities that will be part of it. We'll have a lot of demos outside that you will see, but we'll show you some live demos here on the stage of some of the capabilities that are coming out. Let me start with unified monitoring, the first strategic theme area for us. What is unified monitoring and why is it important? I'm sure a lot of you who do IT operations for a living every day can associate with this picture. That's the reality of how IT monitoring looks like many times. There are so many different tools. There are tools for server monitoring, tools for synthetic monitoring, tools for real user monitoring, database monitoring, application monitoring, network monitoring, all sort of different tools. But there's nothing wrong in having all the tools. The problem is they're all disjointed. They're all disjointed and they don't bring anything together. And that's what makes it so hard. It's all disjointed set of tools. The real world impact of what happens with that is that you have multiple tools telling you multiple things. Your synthetic monitoring tool is telling you that the login is slow. Your application monitoring tool is telling you that your JVM is running out of threads. Your database monitoring tool is telling you that your SQL query is slow. Your network monitoring tool is telling you there is a network bottleneck, there is 97% saturation, and you're dropping packets. The reality is all of this is related. But your tools are not telling you that. You have to figure it out manually, that these are all related. What's happening here is that network is being saturated, dropping packets. That's causing queries to slow down, and that's causing the threads in the JVM to run out, and you're out of threads, and that's causing the login to be slow. But for someone to piece it all together is where the fundamental problem is. And that's really our vision of unified monitoring is that how do you bring it all together? how do you bring it all together instead of these disjointed, siloed monitoring tools? And that's it's like it's really for the first time in the monitoring space we want to go and solve this problem. There is one unified interface, one unified set of data, one unified construct, which is that construct of monitoring the user's transaction, what we call the business transaction. A user does a click, watch everything in the context of that, and bring it all together from the perspective of servers, networks, databases, users, applications, middleware, everything. Everything has to come together for that one user transaction, and that's our approach to unified monitoring. So a lot of, there are a lot of exciting things that we are doing to bring this all together. What we have been doing for the last many years and what we plan to do for the next many years will be designed around bringing this unified monitoring vision together and really solve the problem of monitoring for each one of you, to make your life really easy, to troubleshoot problems when they happen, to reduce the mean time to resolution even more. So today I'm very, very excited to announce some new capabilities. Our first one is our brand new product, AppDynamics Server Monitoring. A really exciting product. It's for the first time in the industry where you can get server monitoring in the context of applications and transactions. What's happening at your application layer, what's happening in your transaction, you can drill down from there inside the servers and watch and figure out if there's a problem with the server. So again, solving the problem around disjointedness. You have server monitoring, you have application monitoring. The problem is it's just disjointed. What we are bringing is, how do you seamlessly bring them together? A lot of exciting capabilities. Our CTO, Bhaskar, is going to join me on the stage in a few minutes to show you a demo of how this all works. But let me talk through some capabilities that are coming out as part of this. The ability to drill down from your application flow maps and transaction flow maps deep inside the servers. So if a transaction goes through many different servers or virtual machines, we will identify which servers and which virtual machines allow you to really seamlessly drill down from there. You can look at everything about a server. What's going on a server? The top processes, where the bottlenecks are. Are you having problem with resources? You can drill down and see if there's a problem with disk I/O, disk space. Is the application being impacted because you don't really have much disk available, or I/O is too high? Same thing with network. If you are having problems talking to some backend service because your network is being saturated or dropping packets or having issues, everything will be captured and associated to the transaction and the application. So everything in the context of application, everything in the context of transactions. And another really exciting capability as part of this is what we call service availability monitoring. That for your application services, as they make calls into backend HTTP services, you build more RESTful architectures, more web service-based architectures. We'll also track if a service is not accessible from any server. So you would know that if your transactions are failing, your transactions are slowing down because some accessibility to a service has a problem right now. A lot of exciting capabilities. You will see a demo, and we are very, very thrilled to announce this product as part of our next release, the Winter 16 release. If you are an AppDynamics APM customer, I would strongly encourage you to try out AppDynamics Server Monitoring. It's industry's first application-centric server monitoring that will bridge that gap that you have with siloed monitoring right now. I have another really exciting announcement to make, which is around in the area of user experience management. Our vision of user experience management at AppDynamics has been about bringing a very comprehensive picture of users together. So historically, there has been real user monitoring and synthetic user monitoring as completely separate things. And then the backend monitoring of applications has been completely disjointed from it. Our vision is to bring it all together. In the context of unified monitoring. So you do need real users because you want to watch each and every user, each and every interaction. But you also want to have these synthetic robots all over the world to generate traffic when you don't have real users anywhere. So our approach is to bring them together in one unified platform, and then tie it all down to the backend applications, the transactions that are happening on the backend application. So it's not disjointed at all. So with that, let me announce our second new product that coming out as part of the 4.2 Winter 16 release, which is our browser synthetic monitoring. Browser synthetic monitoring, amazing product. We are very excited about it. You can proactively monitor your websites from 26 different geographic locations, and we make this very, very easy for you to do. You have really easy script creation with Selenium. So you don't have to learn a new scripting language. You can reuse a lot of the scripts you already have for load testing and other things. It's all automatically correlated with backend business transactions. So you don't have to do anything. Very similar to what we do with our real user monitoring. Everything is very automatically, seamlessly connected with backend business transactions. It's a very powerful search interface as part of it, where you can browse and search and analyze the synthetic sessions by location, by the response, by some output, input, whatever you want to do. Very sophisticated, powerful search and analytics capability. And a lot of strong innovations that are coming out of it. When we started thinking about that we need to bring the synthetic monitoring capability as part of the unified monitoring approach to our customers, the advantage we had was that we had the luxury of thinking it from a blank slate. So we looked at what's wrong with the current synthetic monitoring approaches. Everyone has some kind of synthetic monitoring, and we looked at let's do it in a way that can redefine how you make synthetic monitoring to be much simpler, much easier, much powerful, and much more useful. So a lot of exciting innovations have gone into it. Things like giving you a lot of flexibility for job schedules, timing windows, when do you want to run some tests, how often do you want to run those tests, how do you want to control which tests are running from which location at what time, all of those. Everything is, all of these synthetic robots, agents are in the cloud, so it allows us to scale up, scale down, and spin them up and down really, really easy. And the third thing is we have put in a lot of smartness in how do you get alerts. One of the complaints that we heard from people in using current generation of synthetic monitoring tools is that you get a lot of false alarms. Sometimes it's just things are still right, and your synthetic monitoring tool is sending you false alarms. So we wanted to put in the same level of smartness that we have in our APM in our APM products, that you don't get unnecessary false alarms. So we put in a lot of smartness around things like we see a test is failing. Can we redo it? And instead of waiting for the next run of the test, can we just redo it right there? Can we try it a few times and see and make sure that it's not a false alarm, it's not an anomaly? So a lot of smartness in there. Very excited about this product, and we'll show you a demo soon on how this all works and how this all comes together in a unified monitoring kind of approach. The next exciting thing that I'm going to talk about is our brand new capability called user session monitoring. As our real user monitoring products for browser and mobile, we have been capturing each and every user interaction and recording them and tracking if a user interaction is bad, why is it bad, and what the users and how can you optimize it. What we are introducing with this new capability, user session monitoring, is to track and capture the complete user journey. So if a user is doing 20 different interactions in a session, for you to track that it's part of one session. And then we are bringing a lot of powerful analytics to it, things like conversion dynamics. You can understand that. Where are you seeing drop-off of users? Where are you seeing disengagement of users? So how you can optimize that from there. You will have the full context of what the user was doing when they had a problem with sessions. So you can now really improve your customer support. How many times it happens that a customer gives a call that I'm having a problem when I do click on here, and you say, oh, we are trying to click here, everything is good. What steps did you do before you clicked on that? And there is no way to figure out what steps the user did. The user doesn't remember, and you can't reproduce the problem. So by capturing every session, every user session, and recording what the user was doing, the journey of the user as part of every interaction is what we are introducing here. Really, really exciting capability. We heard from a lot of our customers who are really excited about having this capability. So we are very proud of announcing that. What you would see with that is that we can record each and every web and mobile session and everything about that web and mobile session. What you would see is that we'll have very advanced querying and analytics for these sessions. So you can query and figure out a session by anything you wish, by who the user was, what parameter, what were they trying to buy, did they have you want to look at sessions where people had more than $100 in their shopping cart. If you want to look at sessions which are where people followed a certain path, you can query and analyze by whatever you wish. Very powerful querying there. You can drill into the sequence of pages for every web session. Every web session, you can look at the sequence of pages, which pages people spend more time, what was the performance, where which resources got loaded, which had bad behavior. Everything you can drill down into. You can do the same thing for mobile sessions. Everything that someone did as part of one mobile session, mobile views and activity, you can drill into it. And for mobile apps, you can really combine your crash reporting and troubleshooting as part of sessions as well. Again, the same problem with crashes. Your mobile app is crashing out in the wild, and it's crashing only when a user does a certain sequence of steps. So we'll track it and we'll allow you to troubleshoot that really easier and much better than what's been done before. In addition to these, I have a few more exciting announcements as we continue to expand our unified monitoring platform, our unified monitoring vision. We want to expand the coverage of what you get to monitor and troubleshoot in one simplified, unified way. And I'm very excited to announce the general availability of our C++ monitoring SDK. It's been in beta for some time, and a lot of customers have been very excited about using our C++ SDK to get visibility into C++ apps, and it's going generally available in our next release. What it allows you to get is full visibility inside your C++ apps and correlated with your rest of application infrastructure. I'm very excited to also announce very deep visibility inside MongoDB. As you know, we have very strong database monitoring that's integrated with your application monitoring in the unified monitoring platform. That you can browse the transactions and follow them through into a database, so you would know which SQL queries in a database are causing problems. We're bringing the same capability for MongoDB. So in addition to the relational databases that we do this, so very excited about that. With that, let me bring up on the stage here Bhaskar Sunkara, our CTO and head of product management. So you can see a demo of a lot of capabilities I announced. What we're going to do is to show you a real life scenario of how these can come together in a unified monitoring approach and help you troubleshoot problems really well. With that, let me welcome Bhaskar to come join me on the stage here.
Hey, thanks, Jyoti. Thanks, Jyoti. I wanted to start off by really thanking everyone for being here. It's going to be a fantastic week. Can't wait to get started. So, Jyoti, I heard we actually doubled from last year.
Doubled what? Doubled revenue, doubled number of customers, employees, attendees in AppSphere.
Well, why not all three, right? I meant all three.
All of them.
So
yeah.
Nice job, man. Yeah. All right. So yeah, we'll have that.
So what are you going to demo, Bhaskar?
Yeah, so you made some of the announcements for what's going to release in 4.2. So there are three big things. There's synthetic, there's server monitoring, and there's real user sessions. So we put together some scenarios that sort of combine all those three together. So we'll walk through some of those scenarios and really show all three. Yeah.
Sounds good. What kind of app are you going to show?
So this is the classic AppDynamics demo application. Anybody who's seen an AppDynamics demo, most of you must have seen the e-commerce online bookstore application. So we'll keep it simple. It's also the season, right? Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So why not do a retail scenario and keep it really simple? All right. So the first scenario is really about synthetic monitoring. So Jyoti introduced what we do with synthetic monitoring. It's a great way to stay ahead of the problems before they happen. So obviously, all the data that you've seen so far with existing AppDynamics solution, it tells you what's happening with real users. But synthetic, lets you stay ahead of the game. Run a bunch of scripts to actually really catch problems early on. So let's start with what we're doing here. So if you look at the UI, we're actually looking at synthetic jobs. So synthetic really sets up a bunch of jobs that you can run. You can schedule them in a variety of ways, and then they keep running. You can script multiple actions. So in this case, let's open this up, see what this does. So this is a script. What this really does is run a script for logging in a user, right? And then adding a few books, doing a checkout. So if you're running an online, bookstore, that's the, action that you want to really track, and you want a synthetic script that keeps running it so that before users have problems, you can catch them. So this script is pretty easy. This is a Selenium script. So a lot of operational scripts that most of you have, you can really get them in here directly and then script out all the actions that you need to do. The next thing you can do is choose a browser and then choose the location. So Jyoti talked about the 26 locations we have all over the world. So this great UI shows you what are the possible locations. That one's marked, so that's the one that we're running the script from. So that's a great way to pick what location you're running. You can pick if you want to test all locations every time or at each one. This is the scheduling. It has a fair amount of sophistication in it, so you can schedule them the way you choose. You can set up a timeout on it. If the results don't come back, then that's really a timeout. These are the thresholds, and also I think there's a fair amount of sophistication in what you want to measure. So it's not just end user time. There's other things in here in terms of visually complete time, right? Because those are the things that really tell you, my page is loaded, I'm good to go, and the user's ready to proceed to the next step. So we put in a lot of triggers here for you to configure for real world scenarios. So once the thresholds are done, you can actually also configure customized connection speed. So obviously you have multiple users coming in from different parts of the world using different types of connectivity. So you want to make sure that you cover all of that. So as you can see, that list tells you can pick, and obviously you can do multiple, so you can do multiple connectivities. So that's the job, right? That's the job that's running, periodically. And so what we're going to do with the scenario is to jump in and see how this job is doing over time, right? So I drilled down, and what I basically did was I have a filter right now for saying, hey, show me, for this job, for these pages, show me the ones that are timed out, because those are the ones that we're really interested in. And so that's the one that I'll drill down into and talk about how we're going to drill down into it. So let me open one of these, right? And then as I look, those are the sequence of pages that I went through. So let's look at this one. And there's a fair amount of graphics being loaded, right? So this is the page where all the books of the online cart, online bookstore come up. You can see a fair amount of images being loaded. And this is a great way of also checking the resources that are being loaded. And what this screen tells you is, all the graphics, CSS, HTML, et cetera, all of them being loaded. So the one thing that I notice is the application has a content server from which we load all the images. So there's a fair amount of activity there, as well as a fair amount of activity spent. So that's about 17 seconds spent just in loading the images. Now, this is a straightforward content server. So what I'm going to do is dive into the server using, so this was synthetic. Obviously, now let's move to server monitoring to see what's been happening on the server, because it's just supposed to load these images. There's really no code running. And let's check that out. So what I'm going to do for that is click on servers. And that will, so again, like this is the product that Jyoti just announced. That will bring up all the servers that we're monitoring. This is the particular one, which is the content server. I'm going to open that up. And as soon as I do that, you see that there's a bunch of information there, which we saw some of them in the slides. There's availability, there's CPU, there's memory, there's properties, there's processes. This is a high-level dashboard. You can go into the storage aspect, look at the volumes, look at the network, details for it. And this is more about the processes. So again, coming back to troubleshooting, what we're looking for is, hey, what's happening on this machine, right? So I can see that there's a fair amount of CPU spikes on the machine. And what I want to do now is what's causing these spikes, right? Because now I'm going to start looking at processes to understand what's really causing these spikes. So I look at processes. I go to, this particular process, I actually see from the spark lines that there's quite a few spikes. And I'm going to go look at the details. So that great dashboard comes up, and you can actually see it is spiking quite a bit, right? And it's actually an antivirus process. So what we do with server monitoring is look at all the processes and give you the information in terms of what process is running at what CPU, for how long, all of that stuff. So that gives you great information to go back and correlate that. So now what we've done is, a synthetic job had an issue, which, we looked at the server monitoring detail. So completely unrelated, right? So antivirus running, and then that's slowing up the, synthetic job. But then that's the world we live in, right? Like, that's every day in the life of operations, completely unrelated and hairy problems. And that's what we're going to make it make that easy for you to have the right level of visibility, reduce the time for you to find what the root causes are. So that's pretty much really the first sort of set of scenarios that looks at synthetic, looks at server monitoring. Now let's move over to the other part. The third part is sessions for real user and mobile, right? And while synthetic helps you sort of be more proactive, what sessions does is it's a great way to look at, hey, what real users had issues, right? If someone reported an issue. So imagine there's a particular user who reported an issue, or someone called in and said, hey, a particular user had an issue. Now, let me walk you through. So let's go back to user experience, right? Let's go back here. So now instead of sessions in synthetic and jobs in synthetic, we'll go to the real user. So that's how that division is in the UI. There's the real user traffic, and then there's the proactive synthetic traffic. And go to sessions here. And what I've done here is, I have a user who called in with an issue. Seems to be a pretty familiar name. It's great with demo data, right? We actually have, all the top names from the tech industry, Bill Gates and everybody else. It's a pretty popular application. We also have LeBron James in there, so it's it's a who's who of the tech and the sports world. So back to troubleshooting. So what we're doing now is we're looking at sessions which had issues, and similar to the filter that I had in synthetic, what I'm looking for is, hey, what are the slow ones, right? And these are the pages that we're looking for specifically, and that was the particular user. So these, for that particular user, are the ones that I'm actually starting to look at the list so that I can actually troubleshoot. So let me pop up this one, and then what this is showing is the session timeline. So what we looked at previously was the synthetic script executing and showing the timeline of what the robot did from a location. This is the real user accessing all these pages. So let's look at this one. So this one, I want to look at this one because it's marked slow, right? So that's why I want to track this down to see what's really happening. So let's follow through some of these trails, and then there seems to be some activity here. Then you can obviously also click on resources. But what I want to do is, because that page is slow, drill down into that page, right? So I get to this really great view, which is now breaking down that particular page, right? And if you can see the dashboard, this is again data from real users, right, for that particular page. And it breaks down, all the timing. It shows that I'm spending a significant amount of activity, doing server-side business transaction activity. There's a bunch of other key performance times. For example, there is the load time, breaks down the server connect time. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind a web application connecting and generating content. So this page does a great job in breaking all of that down and giving you a good sense of what to focus on, what's slow, what to fix, right? So let's look at this page really quick. It also gives you the related business transactions, right? So now I know that this is the problem area. So what I'm going to do now is figure out, and as you can see, there's a fair amount of time spent on the server. So the next thing I'm going to do is open up Find Snapshots, which is finding the backend snapshots for for this particular page and the activity that it's doing. So what I'm going to do here is sort by end user time, and basically open up one of these, which took a bunch of time, right? So that cracks open the backend snapshot. So now you can see the server-side activity. Let me actually click on that first. All right. So that's the summary, right? And this is, so what you saw before was an aggregated data set, data for all the real users hitting this page. This is a particular page, and now we're showing you the visibility here. As expected, there's a fair amount of server time, which we're going to track down in a second. But it also shows you business transactions. So a page can hit multiple transactions. So that's one of the reasons why we have a list of them, and you can track any of them down as the problem happens. So this is the snapshot that's actually correlating to. So that's the timestamp, and this is the particular snapshot. There's also other data in here which is very significant. It's obviously marked slow, but the end user response time, time spent on the server, the user, where it came in from and everything else. But for us, next up is going into, the snapshot. So this is a very familiar screen. And I want to pause here for a second just to talk about what our approach to, unified monitoring is, right? So it's not just about, hey, let me get some visibility for database, we get some visibility for server, but how do we put it all together, right? So the snapshot is, one of the most recognizable screens, with AppDynamics, if not the most recognizable screen. And what we're trying to do is, as we build all these new pieces, as we go into more of these areas, we're trying to put together the user experience so that the existing functionality like snapshots, which is a great way of troubleshooting, an individual user transaction, it embraces all the new functionality we're building, right? So that's really the spirit of unified monitoring, and that's what we're trying to do. So as an example, and we've been redesigning the snapshot viewer also. So obviously it went from Flex, to HTML, and we're bringing in all the great data. So if you look at this one, so this is a particular transaction, view items.get all items, that is loading everything in. You can click on slow calls and errors here to see, hey, what's the slow code? What's the slow, SQL calls that we're executing? So we'll chase that down later. That seems to be a pretty expensive query. But then again, you can also look at the slowest methods. So in this case, this is a method that's executing that bad SQL, which we'll track down. And then obviously errors. This one doesn't have any errors, but you can also track down all the top level errors. So without drilling down into, so you can actually have 50 different threads contributing to this snapshot, but gives you a great summary right at the top and tells you the code problems, tells you the SQL problems, and that's a great way. There's other ways of troubleshooting other issues. So if you had a lot of asynchronous applications, you could go look at the waterfall view, etc. But let's go back to the overview and let's start troubleshooting some of this. And before I jump into the database problem which we want to troubleshoot, one thing I also want to show is when you drill down into a particular segment. So every, for those of you who've seen the snapshot, every node, every server that it executes on, when you click on a drill down, it gives you the code paths, of all the transaction activity that happened on the node. So that's what this does. And then the other significant thing is, how did we bring in server monitoring in here? So when you open up a snapshot, go on a node, the server monitoring dashboards that you saw, right, are correlated around that time range. So again, like if something was happening on this server, so let's say the antivirus was running on this server, which is completely unrelated to the code path, that gives you a great way to correlate, bring these together. So that's really what I meant by how do we bring in the newer functionality into existing functionality and keep a condensed workflow for you guys to sort of be productive, as you are right now. So you can, look at the same data, but I think my point in showing this was how do we correlate all of this, right? So there's the call graph, there's the server, but let's go back to the problem now. So this is when you drill down into a particular server, right? So now what we want to do is, I know that that's the bad query. I want to chase that down. And what I'm going to do is drill down and go into database monitoring, right? So this is the deep dive database product, which you can go from a snapshot and say, hey, let me figure out like what queries are actually working here. So now, on this one, this was the one that was causing an issue. So let's double click on that one. So that's a dashboard for that particular query. So it gives you a lot of performance information that, makes troubleshooting easier. But then we want to get to the next level of detail. So let's get to the execution plan. And I click on, the cache plan. And then what that's going to do is to show me the details of that particular query. So as you can see, it's a pretty expensive merge, and you don't want to be doing that. So you can track down why it's happening. Does that happen in a typical scenario, or if that's really kind of what's causing the issue. So from somebody calling in and saying, hey, my page is slow, getting down to the database explain plan with all the handoffs that you could do for operations, that's really a great way to say, let me figure out what are the dependencies, put the views together, and then give you a very productive and quick way to go from the end user experience right down to infrastructure, server, and database. So that's the first scenario, and then we'll get to the next one after Jyoti does it.
Thanks, Bhaskar.
Right.
Isn't this mind blowing? I've been in the monitoring space and the monitoring world for a long time, and I'll tell you, like, getting this kind of visibility in a unified way is the first time it's been possible. That you can look at synthetic transactions, you can look at real users, you can look at every aspect of the session, you can look at what's happening at the code level, you can drill down to database, you can drill down to infrastructure, all in one place. All of the traditional approaches, what has been done by the traditional IT management vendors here, CA and CompuWare and BMC and HP and IBM, is all 20, 30, 40 acquisitions brought in together with very disjointed products. And this is really the first time there's a true built from ground up unified monitoring platform, which we think will be really game changing, which will really, really help all our customers get much better control of how do you troubleshoot problems, how do you reduce the mean time to resolution even more. So we're very, very excited about that. Thank you, Bhaskar. Let's switch back to slides, please. So the second area I want to talk about is our rich application analytics. It's a very strategic theme for us on where we continue to invest, where we continue to expand our platform. I talked about how we think of our platform of application intelligence, which is really powerful visibility and insights into operational performance with a unified monitoring kind of approach. And the second part is for you to understand the user experience, so operational performance tied to user experience. And the third part is the operational performance and user experience both tied to the business outcomes, so that you can piece it all together, something that hasn't really existed in the world of IT before. And that's where our vision of application analytics has been about. As you know, how our monitoring works, that AppDynamics, you put AppDynamics agents inside your code, inside your applications, and we will watch each and every business transaction. We'll extract end-to-end application performance visibility. You will have full visibility on each and every transaction, everything automatically correlated, and you get this end-to-end view. Right? How our analytics work is that you just put a one-click add-on to the same agents that you already have in your application for monitoring, so we can also start extracting business data from these applications. So it's not only just what's happening at the performance level, we can start extracting business data from from any part of the transaction, at the user side, at the server side, at any of the services, a backend call you are making, we can extract any of that. It's really, really easy to do. But once you do that, the power of it is just crazy. You can answer pretty much any question. You can answer a question about every single user. Every single user in this example, that a platinum customer, Jane Smith, failed while booking a flight to London for $1,800 while using Chrome due to issues with the Travel Airways backend API you are making a call. Just ability to answer that question in a very correlated manner has been impossible to do in the past. And that's really the power of bringing our rich application analytics with unified monitoring is. You can answer these kind of questions on an aggregate manner, that if you had problem with that Travel Airways API, how many users got impacted? What was the total impact on the business at that time? And just one simple query in our analytics, and you can answer that question, that revenue of about 145K was at risk because of that one problem that happened. And these were all the users that got impacted. Extremely easy to answer these kind of questions. The possibilities of what you could do with our application analytics product are pretty much endless. And we are very excited about this product. It's been the fastest growing product we ever launched. And the excitement from our customers has been amazing, and we continue to invest and grow what we could do with our application analytics. There are many use cases that you could do. So you heard some of them earlier today, but the number one that we focus on is the business impact analytics. That if people had a bad experience or something was failing, how do you measure the business impact? And business impact could be different for different business. If it's online commerce, you can measure the business impact by looking at what people had in the shopping cart. If it's online banking, you probably didn't lose revenue right there, but you probably lost the customer loyalty over a long time if the same customer had bad experience again and again and again. So you can answer a lot of those questions. You can bring business and IT together to collaborate, to do a win-back campaign, to optimize to reduce the business impact, the bad business impact over time. You can understand your users really, really well. You can do all sort of sophisticated usage analytics. What are the factors that are driving engagement for your users? Where the users are coming from when they are most engaged. Is it a certain time of the day? Is it certain location? Is it certain profile? What are they doing when they are most engaged? You can drive very sophisticated analytics in really easy way. And we'll show you a demo of how some of this is done. You can do really advanced performance analytics. You can slice and dice the data in whichever way you want. If you want to look at, show me the performance of this particular user over the last 6 months. Or you want to see, show me the users who are my platinum users. Or you can do whichever slicing you want, and you can do that in just instantly, all in real time, and get any kind of dashboards, any kind of reports, any kind of analytics out of that. As part of the version 4.2 release that's coming out in a few weeks, we have a lot of new and exciting capabilities that we have added to our analytics product. And I'm going to talk a few of those, and Bhaskar then is going to show some of those capabilities. The number one capability that we introduced is a new query language. It's called ADQL, AppDynamics Query Language. It's a very simple SQL-like query language. In the prior releases, we had a really powerful graphical query builder where you can query and search data in any way. And with this new query language, it makes it faster for you to do really advanced queries, and very, very powerful, makes it easier and easier for you to do even more analytics much faster. The second capability we added is ability to bring in custom data sets. So as I said, we bring all the data from our agents that are inside your app, your server-side agents, client-side agents. So the data coming from APM, the data coming from real user monitoring for browser and mobile. We also bring in log data that you can consume any of the log data into our product and have completely correlated with everything else. But what we are doing is opening up our API for you to bring in custom data streams. So any kind of event streams you have, you can bring in our platform, everything correlated with the transactions and rest of the events. Another new capability that we are introducing as part of the release, which I really think is game-changing. It's the first time ever that we could correlate what's happening in the logs, every line of log with what's happening, what the user transaction is. Those of you who have used logs to troubleshoot, and I'm pretty sure most of you have, the problem with logs is that all you have is a timestamp most of the time. You have a timestamp to figure out, to correlate things together. And it's very hard to piece things together, especially in a distributed kind of application. So what we always thought of, like, what if we know every transaction? We know inside the JVM, inside the container, what transaction is going on. So what if we can add the transaction identifier to the log itself? So with this capability, every line of log that's written will have the business transaction identifier that we have. So there is no guesswork anymore in figuring out what is this log for. So imagine the power of that. It's like really the first time ever that you could have your logs have full context. There is no guesswork involved. Your logs suddenly become 100 times, 1,000 times more powerful than what your logs used to be. And Bhaskar is going to show a demo of that really, really exciting game-changing capability in this release around that. A lot of new advanced out-of-the-box visualizations, funnel analytics, live streams. So you can build even better dashboards, even more powerful dashboards, and you can do it in just a matter of seconds. The last thing I'm going to talk about is a lot of work we have done in putting in a lot of powerful role-based access control. As we bring in all of this data, the business data you are capturing, first of all, our philosophy always been to give our customers the flexibility of where you want to store the data, in our cloud or in your premises, and we'll continue to do that. But in both situations, we want to provide very fine-grained access control of who has access to what data and what can they do with the data. And the best thing is you can all integrate this with your LDAP systems, your enterprise security systems. So it's very easy for you to control access to data. With that, let me ask Bhaskar to show a demo of all of this.
Yeah, so it's actually the same application. We talked about in the monitoring scenario, what are the issues we track down in terms of adding items to cart, checkouts, etc. So we're going to use the same application. What analytics does obviously is tying back the performance results back to the business, right? That's the key. The monitoring scenario really helps you find root cause, but the analytics scenario helps you understand the business impact of it. So let's start looking at that scenario. I want to make sure that's up on the screen. And what this is really doing is, so this is a custom dashboard, right? So this is again in the same familiar custom dashboards area. And what we've done is, gotten you a great way for you to mash up analytics widgets, APM widgets, all the monitoring widgets, and combine them together on the same screen. So if you look at the widgets that we have here right now, so I have a widget which is combining the business data. So what this is really doing is the total items, the total in the cart by price, depending on how many books you've added. That's split by all the books that are here. And then you can actually drill down into one of these. So it's a great interactive way to say, I want to slice to the next level. So for everybody who bought that particular book, this is the performance they had, right? So that's really the power of combining performance and business data together. And it has a great interactive way of getting back to where you were here before. And as I was mentioning, you can also get all the operational metrics. So, one of the widgets here is obviously measuring the calls per minute, looking at the call rate of all the checkouts happening in time. And I have another one which is slicing, the experience based on whether it's normal, slow, etc. I'll talk about this in a second. But if you just look at the dashboard, this gives you a great way to share this anonymously. So if these are the metrics you want to expose, you can share this dashboard with anyone you want. They don't even need to have an AppDynamics account, so that's a great way of sharing that. The other thing you can also do is, as you do this one, you can also say, I want to schedule this dashboard as a report. So what that does is this particular dashboard will go out as a report, and again, like you can use the great scheduling options that you have here and send that out to email to whoever you want to send it to. So all the great dashboards that you can build, combining analytics data and the monitoring data together, you can send out as reports. So that's a great way of sharing that. So now let's look at how easy it is to build these widgets. So for example, I want to edit this one, and that brings up the editor. And what I really did was just drag and drop the user experience field. So these are all the fields in analytics that the application is already collecting. So again, we have the same agents collecting all this data, right? So whether these are fields that we collect in terms of, what's the transaction, what's the tier, what's the node, or more in terms of your business data. For example, you collect somebody's email so that you're able to track down which customer had an issue. You connect some customer name in order to get more information. In terms of remediation, we collect all that stuff also. So all I did was, this is a field we collect automatically, drag that over to the x-axis, and what that's doing is, setting up everything, slicing everything based on user experience. So let me go back here, and then what I'm going to do is actually click on the slow transactions. So it also gives me a great way for me to search from here and drill down into the data, right? So I see here there's a bunch of slow transactions. I want to do a drill down and see what is the data behind it, because I want to understand what are the customers, who are the customers that were affected. So I'm going to click on that. That's a great way to drill from right here and into the data, into the raw data that comes up, which actually lists out all transactions that were slow, right? So that's really the key interaction here. So now what I'm going to do is I want to add a few more fields. So this is the default set of values it's showing me for all the transactions. These are the individual timestamps for each one of these. And so what I'm going to do is add customer email and customer name. So as you can see, all the celebrities come up right here with all the I told you about LeBron James. And so those are the names now. These are the affected customers, in this list. So now this gives you can obviously customize the grid on what list you want. And what you're really after in this workflow, as you chase down a problem and its business impact, is what's actionable information, right? So the actionable information for me here is who is the customer, what's their email, so I can give it to my customer success team, marketing team, and they can chase that down. And it's really easy. So once you have this list, you can add more filters if you wanted to, saying, hey, I only care about the platinum customers. In fact, let's do that a little bit. Let's go to the advanced mode, because one of the things Jyoti mentioned also was ADQL, which is a query language. So we came out first with the visual drag and drop style, but obviously, for the power user, we want to do more in terms of what you can do as a query language. So it's a very simple to use query language. So let's start doing that. I'll make sure I get the. So let's narrow this down a little bit. So application. Let me see. Yep. So what we also have in ADQL, which is very important for for an interactive query builder, is IntelliSense, which actually senses what are the keywords, what are the potential values. So this is application, and I'm going to bring up, e-commerce. That's the only one set here, and then I do the end condition. And so what I have right now is where application is e-commerce amongst all the transactions, and the request experience is slow. I want to add another condition, which is the customer type, right? So we pick the customer type, and now that has potential values on bronze, diamond, gold, platinum. So let's go click platinum, and I'm going to refresh my search. So that's how easy it is on the existing set of data to narrow it down based on the criteria that you want, right? And And like I mentioned, it's all about, how do I get the most actionable information I want from performance? Like if you walk up to somebody in operations and say, hey, who was affected? You want to be able to answer those questions. If you want them to know how are our best customers doing, this is really how you do it. And you get actionable information, and it's super easy to basically say, I want to download a CSV, and then that file comes up, and then you go back here. And so that's really how easy it is to get the actionable information and then hand it over to a team. So that was the first scenario. We looked at ADQL, we looked at exporting it, and then handing it over to the customer success team. The second one I want to talk about is we introduced a lot of new visualizations, really powerful ones. And one of the ones I want to show is, let's go back to the dashboard. And I think I'm looking for the funnel widget. OK, all right. I have that here. So let me just edit this so you can see how easy it is to build this one, right? So this is a funnel widget. Typically in a scenario where you have customers accessing multiple stages of the application, what you really want to do is to create a funnel in terms of, hey, where the drop-off is, right? So in this case, what I did was, I had the first step as all the checkouts, so everybody coming into the checkout step. So that's just the transaction name that represents it. The second one was, let me narrow down based on what the customer type is. So we use the same example in ADQL, so I'm just going to use that here and say platinum. And then the last one is, and let's actually change this a little bit. So instead of cart total, let's just say we want to use the number of books someone is using that for. And let's pick that one. And then anybody who has about 2 books. And that creates the next funnel scenario, which just shows you the drop-off of what activity is happening, and then how do you get from one stage to the other. And again, if you look at the data we're capturing, all of this is captured automatically from the instrumentation we have, and you don't really need to do any code change. So that's actually really great in terms of giving you an environment where just by configuration of, hey, here's the key field, here's the parameter I want to collect, here's the HTTP parameter, here's the method parameter I want to collect, and this is what it means. And we'll do the rest for you in terms of correlating everything, right? So this is a great example of creating visualization based on all the great backend data that we're able to capture and correlate, right? So the next thing I want to do is, I think the other thing I wanted to quickly show you was, this is applicable to so many scenarios. So this is e-commerce, retail, but this is another example where you apply it to another vertical. Think about a loan processing application where you have multiple stages, you submit the application, it gets to the next stage, and then the credit check passes. So you want to see what the stages are. And again, like from here, from the data, you can get into why something failed. So it could have failed because of a performance problem. It could have failed because of a business problem. And the great news is that you have all the data to figure out what happened to what, and now you're able to see everything from both a business and a performance point of view, right? So this is a great way to do that. Now the last one I want to show you, I think Jyoti mentioned the log correlation, right? And he talked about a scenario where a lot of us where we're just logging multiple things, whether it's performance, whether it's business data, and when you have a distributed application, it gets really hard to track log messages, right? So how many of us have popped open multiple log files, especially when there's a lot of asynchronous behavior in the app, looked at thread names to see, okay, so this must be the same thread, so I'm tracking the same click, right? Now, what we've done is, if you're logging from your Java or .NET applications, and if you have it instrumented with AppDynamics, what we do is automatically inject the GUID that we correlate across servers, which we use to correlate transactions. So automatically, now, when you're looking at distributed log files, you don't have to look at things like thread names, et cetera, and start to correlate it, but we automatically give you a great way of correlating it. So let me show you really how. So let's go to these searches. So I'm going to start a new search. And what I'm going to do is go into a particular transaction that I know for sure is distributed, so I can show you the log messages that are on multiple servers for the transaction. So I drill down into this one. This is basically really like a business snapshot, tells you kind of what happened with that particular transaction. I go into more details. we know that's the GUID attached to it. That's how we're correlating all activity across servers. And then I'm just going to do search logs, right? So now this is actually showing all the logs. So what I'm going to do now is to turn this on to see what tier these are coming from. So now you can see that there's a message from portal services. There's also a message from authentication services. But the key thing to remember is that's the GUID, right? So you did nothing more than log away your messages happily, and then we're correlating what click it corresponds to across servers and across thread boundaries, and we're giving you a great way to put that all together and decreasing the amount of work you're doing in getting your log files to be part of the operational strategy, whether it's for troubleshooting or whether for any other use case. So I really think this is mind-blowing. We're just getting started from what this feature can do and what analytics can do. All right. So I think that's it from the demo. I wanted to thank the demo team for working really hard and putting this together, and obviously our super amazing, awesome product team, which has been cranking at all times of the day and night to bring you this product. So I wanted to thank them, and then if you could give them a big hand, it'd be great.
Thank you, Bhaskar.
All right. Thanks, Jyoti.
Let's switch back to the slides, please. Wow, what an exciting demo. It's imagine all of this coming together, the operational performance, user experience, business outcomes in one easy, simple interface with all this power. It's I would say I can't be more excited about how our product is evolving. But as we go through this evolution of the capabilities on our product, we also want to make sure that the foundation of our platform gets stronger and stronger with all of this. We are consuming more and more data. We are, I talked about, we are monitoring 450 billion metrics a day already across our SaaS and on-premise customer base. And when we fast forward this 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, we know the amount of data we will be processing with more data collection, more monitoring, more analytics would be 10x, 100x, maybe 1000x more. And we want to make sure that our platform gets ready for that kind of scale. So we have been working on building the world's most powerful IT operations monitoring and analytics platform. So the core foundation of the platform gets richer and stronger, and as we keep building more and more of these capabilities, and we bring these out to you. So that's the third strategic area for us where we're putting a lot of investment in. There are a few goals of our this re-platforming that we are going through. Number one is that it's designed for big data scale, that we can handle as much data as you would want to bring in, as many apps, as many transactions, as many logs, as many users, as many mobile devices, and as much operational data, performance data, user data. We can consume it all and provide you this kind of a very powerful platform for all of that. The second thing is it's being designed for even more easier manageability at larger and larger scale. From very early on, our philosophy has been that we have to make monitoring and management really easy. The problem with monitoring and management that it's been hard, it's complicated, and so we have put in a lot of effort in building our platform that it's easier. And now as we see bigger and bigger adoption, larger and larger customers, we want to make sure that the manageability of our platform gets even easier for large deployments. And I'm going to talk about some of the investments we are making there. The third area is enterprise class security, that we want to make sure that as you bring more and more data into our platform, either in the cloud or in on-premise, that we are designed for enterprise class security. Everything that is needed for you to be completely assured about security, we want to be investing in that. The fourth area that as we are re-platforming constantly, we are moving to an architecture which is more of a microservice architecture, so we could be even more agile in delivering more capabilities to you, both much more frequently than what we going forward. And then the last thing is we are designing our platform for a lot of extensibility and openness. We understand that you will have an ecosystem of a lot of things around the AppDynamics platform as well, and we want to make it easy to coexist, to work very well with the ecosystem. And I'm going to talk about some of the work that we are doing there. So a lot of work has happened in this release that's coming out, in the 4.2 release, in improving our platform and building this new foundation for our platform. It's an ongoing journey, and we'll continue to do that for the next many years. But let me talk a little bit about our new metric processing architecture. As you know, the metrics and time series data are the core of any monitoring product. Our prior architecture was built on relational databases, etc. Our new architecture is built on Hadoop and HDFS and some really, really sophisticated stream processing technologies that we have developed for very powerful metric processing, for very powerful metric machine learning, behavior learning. And this platform is live for a select group of customers, and we will continue to roll it out for more and more customers. And this will be all seamless. You won't have to worry about the transition. This will all just happen for all of you. Similarly, our event service architecture, where all of these massive number of events are coming into our system, we continue to redesign that. Our new architecture is built on Elasticsearch and for Kafka for event ingestion, and and again our event processing algorithms on top of that, so we can process all of these live stream of events and learn the behavior, learn anomalies, all of that. So we're very excited about the progress that we have been making there. Really, really powerful event management platform designed for massive scale. We can handle up to 1 trillion events a day in this platform. We can consume all kind of events, call graphs and logs and transactions and user sessions, and we can index it all together. So you can do that. The ADQL demo that Bhaskar showed, you can query across all of these events that are coming in. In one query, our vision is that you can bring it all together, all the data, all the events, and you can just slice and dice and query whatever you want to. So a lot of exciting technology investment that's been going into it. And we believe that as our new platform starts coming out, we would be well positioned to continue to help you for a long time. That you can rely on us to be the IT operations management analytics platform for everything you want to do. But I talked about how we want to make it easier and easier for you as you do that. So there are two major areas that we are starting to slowly roll out. One is this a concept called Unified Agent. It's a capability that's available as a hidden capability inside 4.2 for customers who want to try it out. It's not available. It's still very, very early. But the idea behind that is that you can get one simple agent to install that will take care of everything, monitoring your apps, monitoring your databases, monitoring your network, monitoring your server, monitoring everything that you want to do with one simple agent that will automatically install and discover and upgrade and do everything else. So we're very excited about that. So it will make it even simpler and simpler for you to manage the life cycle of all the monitoring and analytics agents. Similar investment is going on into simplifying even more the management of our platform, and we have a new capability called Platform Admin that's coming out in that 4.2 release. What it allows you to do is to have a very simple interface for you to deploy all the pieces of our platform together. So you don't have to worry about managing, upgrading the separate pieces, and makes it much easier for you to manage our platform at even larger and larger scale. We continue to invest in opening our platform. So there are more and more APIs that we are opening up. And there are a lot of extensions that are being developed on top of the platform now. We have more, extensions for all kind of things and integrations with all kind of things. And we have a partner pavilion outside. A lot of third-party companies are partnering with us and building on top of our platform. And we'll continue to open this more and more as we go. So you can bring in more data. You can use our data in different ways. And we want to keep it really open. As part of our platform openness and integrations, we are also investing heavily in coexisting and working very closely with the platform as a service architectures. So in this release, the 4.2 release, we have a few new deep integrations coming out, very deep integration with OpenShift, very deep integration with Pivotal Cloud Foundry, very strong integration with Heroku, and we'll continue to grow these. I would encourage everyone to see a demo outside in the developer lounge if you're interested in any of these. But as we continue to grow, we want to continue to invest in our platform, and that's a big strategic area for us. So let me recap everything that we announced and shown today. 3 things. Unified monitoring, that how do you solve the problem of monitoring in a unified manner? How do you remove this siloed monitoring challenge? Where you have all of you have server monitoring, you have database monitoring, you have application monitoring, you have real user monitoring, you have synthetic monitoring of some kind, and you have log monitoring, but it's all disjointed. And what you saw today is how much what we are bringing out, our vision of unified monitoring, that is all comes together in one single unified interface and one single unified data model. So the monitoring and troubleshooting becomes really, really easy. The second thing we talked about today is rich application analytics. That how do you tie whatever is happening at the operational and user level to the business? As IT, I believe this is the golden era of IT. That IT's job is changing from that you're carrying pagers to make sure that everything on IT systems is good, to you are becoming drivers for business transformation. So as you become drivers for business transformation, your job becomes more operating or helping operate a business. This is where you get that power, that now you have the data. You have the data and you have the link between what's happening in IT to the business. You will have the best source of data that's possible to do that. And that's we showed you a demo of that and really exciting capabilities in this next release. The third thing I talked about is how we continue to invest in our platform, the core foundation of our platform. As we continue to bring all of these innovations, all of these capabilities to you, we want to make sure that our platform continues to evolve, so we can continue to partner with you for a very long time. We want, I started with what is our mission, right? Our mission is that we want to make sure that as every business transforms to run on software applications, that we make sure that those applications are providing the business outcomes. Those applications are doing what they're supposed to do. And we want to make sure that your job gets easier and easier. There's nothing more fulfilling to us than making it easier for you. It's I've been in engineering and technology my whole life, and I know it's hard. It's hard to operate so complex applications. It's stressful, it's hard, it's a lot of pressure, and we want to make it easy. And we're very excited about the capabilities that are coming out in this release, and we want to continue to do that. The last thing I want to do is we have a lot of people from our R&D team here, our engineers, our developers who worked on these capabilities, and they have joined us here so that they can talk directly to you, our customers. And I want everyone from AppDynamics product team to stand up. A lot of people in the back, group there. Let's give them a big hand. A lot of the things that I announced, a lot of the demos, our R&D team has worked really hard to bring that. And what we want to do out of AppSphere is make sure that our engineers get an opportunity to talk to you, talk to our customers directly, to spend time with you. And we want that our customers, you get an opportunity to talk to our engineers directly. As I said, one of the big belief I always had is that we have to partner with our customers. The only way we can bring the right kind of innovation, the only way we can bring this kind of amazing customer success is if we partner with you. And we believe the best way to partner is to break the boundaries between our engineers and our customers and let the flow of ideas and feedback work very well. So I'll encourage everyone to spend time in our developer lounge, ask questions, give ideas, give feedback, what you like, what you don't like. It will be very, very exciting. It will be the next few days in AppSphere. I'm personally looking forward to doing that with as many of you as I can. Thank you all.